Hi everyone, welcome back to Kahanya Calling. Today's change is that we are recording our story in a very scenic location. Today's story is The Birthday Present. It is about a father's wise words for his daughter to be cherished for her lifetime. Let's hear the story from Dad.
The day was very special for Sage's daughter. It was her 20th birthday, and the sage believed that once you complete your teenage, that is till the age of 19, and once you get into adulthood, which is 20 years of age, that's a very important point in any person's life. So the daughter was very excited, and just like any other father, the sage gave her some present. The daughter was very excited and very curious and asked her dad, "What is it?" He said, "This is for you to discover. Open it in the evening once you have quietened your mind through meditation." The daughter agreed, and as the sage had said, in the evening when she had calmed down, when she was in a very comfortable state of mind, she opened the exquisitely, crafted boxes. There were three boxes, and they were to be opened sequentially one after the another. So she hurriedly picked up the first box, and when she opened it, she found a beautiful mirror inside it. She was very happy. She looked at the mirror, smiled, and the mirror smiled back. She was like, "Oh, Dad, this is like a beautiful present." And for a moment, she changed her expression and she frowned. And the mirror frowned. She again smiled and kept the mirror aside. Now, curious to go on to the second one, she hurriedly picked up the box, another beautiful box, and when she opened it, she was startled to see there was a crystal skull, a skull which signifies death. She frowned upon it, and she was wondering why my dad would give me something like this. She really got a little agitated and started to ponder what is it. She felt a little sad also, but then she noticed that there is something marked on the skull, on the edges of the skull. It was written, "The future you." The first one, the mirror, had the words engraved. It said, "The present you." So the present you, the future you. Now she kept the skull aside and she wanted to open the third box. She was curious, but then she was very afraid also. Could it be something like a beautiful mirror? Or could it be again something sad and quite demotivating like the skull? So she was hesitant as well as she was skeptical. But her curiosity made her open the third box. And in that box was a splendid figurine of Buddha that sparkled even further in the light of the room. She was just delighted. It radiated peace, calmness, serenity, and enlightenment. Her joy knew no bounds. Now she was curious to see that just like the other two gifts, does it also have something written on it? And she started looking, and somewhere she found written, "The Eternal You." Now she got into the thought that this is no ordinary gift. There is certainly more and beyond what her eyes could see. So she started pondering and reflecting upon what her sage dad has taught all through the years, and she began to realize that just like the sages, you know, they act without attachments. He has in fact passed on a teaching without any words. So normally it has been seen that when the kids grow up and when they're in adolescent age, whatever you tell to them sounds like a lecture, and they would really, it wouldn't be of much use to them. But this was really meaningful. So as she pondered over the gift, she realized that the mirror smiled when she smiled. and the mirror frowned as she frowned on it. So basically, it reflects on your karma. As you sow, so you reap. This is a saying that we have heard multiple times. This is exactly what the mirror was saying, that this is the present you. We need to focus more on what we are doing and what our smallest acts of, let's say, even a small conversation or small acts of kindness or the selfish acts, how they can impact ourselves in future. So as the saying goes, right, if you plant a babool tree, you can't expect mangoes out of it. So she got the inner meaning of this, that if you want a better future, right, the present you have to act accordingly. It has to plant the seeds of a mango to get mangoes and not of babool. She got the lesson. She was quite happy. The second one, the skull, although which represented death and which is normally in every tradition is very difficult for people to accept, but that is the final truth of life. Our life begins and our life ends, and that is the reality, that after the time, as the time passes by, and after a few years, a few decades, we will nothing but be a bag of bones. So the sooner we realize this truth, that our time in this world is not only finite, but it is also very short, we start making use the best use of time. We cannot afford to waste any time in our lives. Usually what happens is only during the sunset years of our life, when we are almost reaching death, that we realize this message which the sage wanted her to understand as soon as she had entered into adulthood. Now the entire sadness, her entire nervousness of seeing that skull is gone, and she was happy. She was delighted. Finally, as she was thinking of the Buddha, she realized that it is rightly written, this is eternal you. Because the ultimate aim or the journey of any life is to attain salvation, is to get enlightened. We revere Buddha because he got enlightened, right? He made that effort to get enlightenment. And when we look up to Buddha, our focus is that we get enlightened by him too. So basically, Buddha is not something to be revered, but Buddha is something that we should aim to become. Buddha was a normal human being who attained enlightenment and salvation. So should be our approach in life. That we go on to that journey and become Buddha. Now she was extremely happy that this was no ordinary gift. In fact, those material things were not gift at all. It was the teachings, it was the lessons behind those that were the real gift. So for all of us, although we might not have a mirror, the skull, or the Buddha in our hands, but the sage's teachings are there in our heart to remain. And only once we have quietened our mind should we unwrap the gift and begin the journey towards eternity. Thank you.
The birthday present was an everlasting wisdom for a lifetime, not only for his daughter but for all of us. If you really like the story, please share your comments and don't forget to click on the bell icon post subscribing.